Welcome to Revival Records Podcast. I'm Peyton, one of the co-founders of Revival, as well as a singer, songwriter, and performer who has spent the last 20 years riding the roller coaster, otherwise known as the music business. And on this podcast, I speak to talented artists, producers, DJs, music moguls, songwriters, musicians, basically anyone brave enough or just crazy enough to make the business of music their mission in life. My guest on today's podcast is a cherished and much celebrated figure in the house music community, often referred to as a legend or an icon, a superstar, the queen, even the diva of all divas, in the truest sense of that word's original meaning, of course. As someone who has known Cathy Brown personally for many years now, it does feel privileged to be able to call her sister and dear friend, collaborator, and colleague, who I've had the pleasure to work with both in the studio and on quite a few stages around the world. And yet, to me, she's also the legend, the icon, and a true star whose light I've witnessed again and again, because nobody shines brighter on a stage than the magnificent Cathy Brown. Over the past 3 decades, Cathy has written for and or made records with just about every notable house music producer and DJ you can imagine. But it all started in South Carolina, where she grew up, singing gospel music alongside her sisters in church, with a mother who was a minister and an aunt who just happens to be the great multi-award-winning Shirley Caesar, often referred to as the First Lady of Gospel Music. Cathy Brown got her start really around 1993 when she met David Shaw in New York City, which led to her first single, Can't Play Around, which went on to be a hit on the U.S. Billboard dance music charts. And from that point on, Cathy Brown emerged as one of house music's biggest players, who clearly had no intentions of playing around. Today, the sheer quantity of records in her catalog, it's staggering. But even more impressive is the consistent quality of those records, many of which have become classics that have been mixed and remixed again and again, making Cathy one of the most played dance music artists in the world, with one of the most recognizable and sought-after voices in the industry. When we first started thinking about vocalists we wanted to be part of the Revival Collective, Cathy was unsurprisingly one of the first names to come up. And after a day of recording vocals for our second single, Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher, which has now had more than 4 million streams, by the way, we played Cathy our Revival rework of Michael Jackson's Earth song, What About Us, which eventually came out as our debut single. And in that very moment, Cathy started singing ad-libs, and within minutes, she was back in the vocal booth recording a very impromptu but incredibly inspired contribution, which gave the record a certain magic that, up until that moment, we didn't even realize was missing. More recently, Cathy has brought that magic to Revival's 8th single release, a rework of Sly and the Family Stone's Dance to the Music. And she's also just recently had a collection of her work released by Defected's imprint, Glitterbox, appropriately entitled Legacy. It seems like a lot's happened since I had the chance to sit down and record this podcast with my friend, but one thing is for sure. Cathy remains the queen supreme of our dance floors and one of my very favorite people in this world. And on that note, I'd like to welcome you to Revival Records Podcast number 8 with the legend herself, Miss Cathy Brown.
Move to your feet, add some bottom, so the dancers just won't hide. You might like to hear my organ say right, Sally, right. Oh yeah, dance to the music. Wanna dance all night? Dance to the music. One more time, y'all.
Miss Cathy Brown is in town.
Yes, with my boy Peyton.
What a joy to have you in the studio, not only because you are, of course, one of the legends of house music. Anyone who has followed house music over the last 20 years will know Cathy Brown's name and many of her records. But, of course, for me, it is a personal treat because it's a chance to see my friend.
Yes.
We've known each other now.
Ooh.
Did we meet in Sydney? Was that the first time we actually met when we did that big symphonic event? It was, wasn't it?
Properly.
Yeah. I just remember,
Yeah, properly.
when the songs began with the orchestra, and I was thinking, oh my God, that's really Kathy Brown. That, I'm on stage with Kathy Brown.
Yes,
That was amazing.
Oh, that was, wow.
That was amazing. That was,
It was.
Dan Murphy's Ignite anthem.
Yes, to hear
Sydney.
all those artists up there doing their thing with a
a
full band behind them, a full orchestra behind them was breathtaking.
I'd always dreamed of doing that ever since seeing the Pete Tong's Ibiza proms. So, Kathy, thank you for being a part of this. We are still kind of in the early stages of figuring it all out, but we are definitely building something that is unique, something I don't think exists anywhere else, and something that I think we all are definitely going to benefit from and really need. This project is, as I told you, all about creating a platform for artists, which has only at its core agenda to benefit the artists who are taking part in it.
Right.
So, and in this case, the producers or the musicians that play on the record, the singers, because all of us who've been in this industry now, I mean, I broke into house music in 2003. When was your first record?
My first record was 1993.
Wow.
Can't Play Around.
Okay.
It was my very first single by Lace.
That was your first single?
My very first.
And then,
And it was
so you've been in this for almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you and Barbara Tucker are kind of neck and neck as the... have you discussed whether or not she is actually the longest reigning queen of dance music?
Well, when I met Barbara, I didn't know she even sang. She was dancing.
Okay.
So when I saw her dance, it was like, oh my God, this girl can dance so off. So when I saw her do that, it was like, wow.
Oh God,
and then when I came out with my first single, she used to invite me down to the Underground Network, which is where it all jumped off in the States, New York. Then it was the Sound Factory Bar.
Yeah.
It was so many different garage. We also did something there. That's the first time I got to see Barbara perform.
Wow.
Because she had dancers all around her. It was me, her, 10 City, and somebody else. We closed it out. So that was the first time I actually got to see her perform. And I was like, oh, she can sing. Oh, she
can sing. Mama can sing.
I didn't know this. And then as years went on, I started looking into some of her background. What? But so she's been doing it a long time. I started out in gospel, though, so it was a total different.
Well, funny enough, so did I.
Oh,
I think, in fact, I'm sure probably Barbara did as well.
Barbara did as well, but
Gospel is...
gospel is something... I started at 9 in New York.
Yeah.
So I opened up for every major group there was. The Mighty Clouds of Joy, the Winans, BB&C.
You opened up for the Winans?
They thought we had a record deal. It was me and my 6 sisters, there's 7 of us. Gospel people literally thought we had a record deal, and we never had a record deal.
I haven't heard that name for so long. The Mighty Clouds of Joy.
Listen, the Mighty Clouds of Joy. We was like their ring. It was like their ring little angels. They used to call us the angel singers.
Wow.
And it was a theater that they used to do a lot in the States on Bedford Avenue. Listen, when gospel hit there, Inez Andrews, Shirley Caesar, you name it. And Shirley Caesar is my aunt. So.
Shirley Caesar is your aunt?
Yeah.
You never told me that.
I never told too many people a lot of things.
Oh my God, that's huge.
I've never used my family name or anything like that. I always just say, well, that's my, my auntie or, whatever. But
what's the connection on your mom's side?
My father's side. Listen, when I first met her, she was at one of my shows, my anniversary, actually. And then she did my last anniversary, too. It was the last time I sung gospel. I wanted to make a choice between the two. So she came to my last gospel show, which was her, Inez Andrews, Dorothy Norwood. Oh my God. It was the whole caravan singers at my last anniversary. I got video of all of this, okay?
That's incredible.
I got video of all this, but I grew up in gospel.
So it's interesting you say, we're gonna go back to where we just were. But I just, while I'm thinking about it, that you say you wanted to make a choice because
back then was
because
different.
Because I also had that upbringing in the church where I only ever sang. I mean, I never sang anything other than gospel. So when I decided to kind of liberate myself from the shackles of religion, you know, although I still consider myself a very spiritual person, but you know, once I kind of started challenging some of these ideas that didn't really make sense to me, and I needed to kind of move out from the church, it was a strange one because I also just left music because I didn't. For me, music was just that. I had never thought about it in a secular way. So it was many years. My first hit in 2003 came out, and I was already in my 30s. So, you know,
that's the way it is.
So really from the time I left college, you know, which was, you know, when I was 22, it was a good 10, 11, 12 years. Yeah.
You stuck with the good singing up until then.
Well, because I just, for me, singing was about bringing glory to God.
Yes.
But because that was the way I was brought up and the way I was trained, when I did end up breaking into music, strangely and very randomly how it all happened, but it never stopped being that for me in a way. It wasn't, not in the religious way, I guess, but I think for me and over the course of what's now been, you know, a 20-year career, I still have that feeling when I step, and this is what I want to, I'm wondering if you also, like when I step on a stage, I still walk onto the stage and say, to whatever the power is that is bigger than me, wherever this gift came from, let this performance be inspirational to the souls that are out there that need to be uplifted. You know, we've just been recording.
That's what we are, a voice.
Your love keeps lifting me higher. But that is what for me music is meant to be, and I feel that it is a calling. And even though I don't have that same kind of religious sort of framework for it anymore, I still feel that way. And I think that's why gospel singers
it stays within us.
Because they're not singing, it's not an ego-driven thing. It's a different way of looking at it. You're not walking on stage and going, oh wow, this is all about me. It's more like I'm a vessel and something's moving through me.
It ain't too many of us though. But
no, and so, you know, so funny you said that, you know, you had to make that choice. And I guess, you know, a lot of house songs are gospel-ish. I want to ask you about your some of your experiences with house music, because one of the things that I know, having over the years myself experienced, and so many of our colleagues in this business, is that this issue, and this came up recently when I sent you that file, and you saw that I had you written as featuring, and you said, "Oh, I don't feature." And I was like, oh yes, I so get that, because it's something I nipped in the bud quite early in my career. But this thing about being the artist featured on a record, which then goes out, but really ended up being about either the DJ or the producer, even when you were the one that's written the record. And there were, I mean, in my case, sometimes I was the one that organized the studio session, chose the producer, got the backing singers, wrote the lyrics, wrote the melody, came up with the harmonies. And then, and in the end, you're going to be featured as if you've just been paid a few $100 to come in and feature on somebody else's record. And this has been a recurring theme over the years with colleagues. And so this is one of the things we want to address. We want to, you know, really address all these kind of major points where we feel that, you know, we have been overlooked. One of the reasons why more people don't know the names of house music artists, the ones who have written the records or featured on these records that we've been dancing to a million times in a club. But you say the name of the artist to that person, like, oh, that's my favorite song, but I've got no idea who that artist is.
Listen, they got so many mixes out on me till it ain't funny. I ain't know nothing about them.
Exactly.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
And didn't even put me down as the artist, and I wrote the tracks.
Yeah.
So
it's all in keeping, and it affects your splits on the streaming sites.
It's all in keeping up with what's going on with you, because nobody else is going to do it better than you. Like I said, a lot of people put out stuff on me, just didn't bother to put my name. That's all.
What were your biggest records?
Ooh, Turn Me Out.
Turn me out. Turn me.
Can't Play Around was top 10. Most of my records
Stronger
back in the day
Own
was top 10. That came in at number 4, 3, some crap like that. But all of them were pretty big songs. Never Again. Wow.
And were they featuring Kathy Brown?
I'm Never Again. No, I made sure, because that was with Simon Law. I like to say that too. Simon Law did the music to that track, Never Again. which he didn't get too much credit for. So I'm giving him the credit now.
Ah, see, it happens to producers as well.
So, yeah, but Simon Lord did the music for that for me, Never Again. That was pretty big. Strong on My Own. Love Is Not a Game. I've had so many. I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And majority of the stuff is longevity. I appreciate, those are classics. Wow. I've done so much stuff I can't even think of all the songs I've done, but yeah, it's been a lot.
And if you had it all to do over again, would you do anything differently?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah. I know my business a lot better. I learn a lot more instead of listening to people tell me, oh, don't worry about the business part of it. You just handle the music part.
Yeah.
So I would get more into it instead of not paying attention to what's really going on.
Well, we have no choice. It is what it is. But the truth is, as an artist, we don't really necessarily, want to be the...
trust me, I don't want to be in it.
We're having to learn how to do our own social media.
Yes.
How to, to do our own promotions. And
everything.
In your case, do you have a hairstylist or did you have to do that yourself this morning?
No, I had to do it myself.
This is ridiculous. You shouldn't have to do that yourself.
Hey, what can I tell you? And they call me a legend.
And they call you a legend.
Look at here.
I think I'm excited about this project, and it's really kind of inspired me and reinvigorated me a little bit because I feel like in the last couple of years with the pandemic, especially with not being able to go out and perform live,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us were suddenly confronted with the harsh reality of, we were all just a few months of no gigs away from the breadline. And someone like me that's written, I've written a lot of records. I have got, 50% publishing on tons of records, tons of compilations, collections, whatever.
Yeah.
But monthly streaming, it's hilarious. I mean, sometimes I just think I would rather them not send me the 500-page streaming report that ends up being, £3 and whatever it is. It's because it's depressing. I'm like, it's actually
what
seems
seems
quite
to be
mean. Just don't even tell me.
What it seems to be now, it's not even about the sales. It's about how many streams you get.
It's about how many streams you get.
But
the way the system
now.
is set up, it's really, it's not distributed, fairly. And
nope.
So we are looking at ways to try to address that, to provide opportunities for artists, not only paying them to come work on the records, also building hopefully a brand where we can be putting on some really amazing live events, giving more artists more opportunities to perform live, and potentially even earning, something back from the records. So it is quite a novel concept.
I love what you guys. I love the concept that you guys have. I mean, who does it? It's never been done.
And for me, it's just great to be able to bring in
some of the big
people that have been part of the trajectory, the story of house that I've known and been lucky enough to meet over the years and work with. I will never ever forget that moment in Ibiza.
Oh.
This is, I think,
that
probably
was a moment.
one of the most emotional, touching moments that I in my entire life, and that is true. And that was, when we were in Ibiza, and you knew that I was going on the X Factor. You said, "Oh, I hear."
I had a message.
And I was, in a really weird place about it. It was a hard decision for me. And then we did that gig together, and that song, I didn't understand what was going on, but it was like
it took you a minute. It took you a minute.
The DJ was just playing this record that, it was like, and I knew it was a backing track.
It was weird how he just put that on. And
do you know it was the backing track to Rise Up? It was to Andre Day's Rise Up, because I had it on my USB stick. So for some reason that just carried on, and you just started singing, and it was like being back in the church where you just gave me a message. This is online on YouTube, and it's I think I called it "When God Sounds Like Kathy Brown," and you started singing to me, but it took me a while to figure out what was going on, and then I realized, oh my God, you were delivering a message, and you sang straight into my heart, and I stood there with tears pouring down my face, and I still return to that video and watch you sing straight into my soul words from a higher place and a higher power, telling me, don't be afraid, that this is an opportunity to reach out and take it. because, when opportunities come, you've got to grab, and let your light shine. Let your light shine. And,
especially when you're shining already. You just don't know you had to shine.
Well, we all forget sometimes that we have, we were all made to shine. We were all born to shine. And I think it's...
But yours was burnt that particular weekend when I saw you. Yours was burning especially bright.
Was it?
To where it resonated.
Yeah.
All over the place. Just pure energy. Just. And to be in that moment with you was...
It was...
It was...
I'll never forget.
I can't even describe how it was, but it was more or less just giving you what you needed.
Oh, my God.
And I pray to God one day that I'll be around for you to return that favor.
Well,
and be there to give me something that I need.
My
well,
love,
I know you've always been there.
Go.
You've always been there. So I
I'm
have to say
bringing you this new exciting platform.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your records are going to be, I think, very, very popular from the fans that are slowly but surely coming along to understand what we're all about. Yeah. And we're going to be doing a lot of stuff together. And you and I are going to shine. We're going to put our lights together and shine. This
let
little
it shine.
light of mine, baby.
That's right. Let it shine.
But I love you, Kathy Brown. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this.
Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you for the music.
Oh, thank you for listening. Look, say thank you for being here, listening to it. I got the... Thank you, darling. Lots of love.
Turn me on.
Oh, you're on my mind all day till I go to bed. Ooh, baby, you're always in my head. All I ask for is a love to ease my mind. But you've got to work this love, 'cause I don't have much time.
Move your body with me.
Give me that special treat. But when we're making love, I wanna feel the heat. Turn me on, turn me out, make me scream, make me shout, shout to my boy Peyton. Revival.